Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're your co-hosts today. I'm Mike, and this is Will, and we're your developers from Speedify. Alex is a little occupied today, so we're going to fill in. I think we're going to have a good show, Will. What do you think?
It's going to be great.
So this is brought to you by Speedify, the show where we practice what we preach and take Speedify live. So we love the engagement from our customers and our audience, so please, any questions that you have about how Speedify works or anything under the hood, we're your guys to ask. So please give us a follow. Tell us who you're watching and what social networks you're on. So let's start out with a basic question. Well, maybe some of our audience is not really aware, but what is Speedify?
Yeah, so Speedify is an app. It's available on all of your devices. You know, mobile, desktop, PC, Mac, iPhone, Android, Linux. You combine a bunch of internet connections and you get ability from it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, how does it work?
Well, so say you got your little iPhone. You're at the coffee shop, you're on that Wi-Fi. Speedify will detect that you've got both cellular, assuming you're paying for your cellular plan, which is typical. And then also that you're connected to the coffee shop's Wi-Fi. And it'll put those two together, give you some failover and bonding for both of them. And just recently, it'll try to search for other devices near you.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah.
So that's one of our new features, isn't it, Will?
Yeah.
So that feature is called Pair and Share. For those who
Share.
are not aware, it came out in Speedify version 14. Why don't you give us a little bit of information on what Pair and Share is?
Yeah, so Pair and Share is like a mobile hotspot, but way, way better. You get a VPN behind it. It's what makes Speedify work with the people around you. You walk into you walk into a room and everybody else around you is using Speedify. You can all use Speedify together and share it just like you're joining some other network.
Well, that's great. So basically, it's a feature that allows us to easily share cellular connections back and forth to anybody running Speedify. That's pretty awesome. So it's good to note, since we are a VPN company, that any traffic you kind of share with other people is encrypted through the device. So there isn't anybody else watching your traffic as well. So this is a really cool feature. But we're in the midst of a holiday season, aren't we, Will?
Yep.
And what does that mean? It looks like this time for a sale. So, Black Friday, we had a great sale, but this is Cyber Week, Cyber Monday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the sale?
Yeah, so we've got 70% off a 3-year pass. And, that's the new holiday cyber sale.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, you get 70% off a non-renewing 3-year subscription to Speedify, not even a subscription, 3-year license to Speedify. So it's a gift that keeps on giving for 3 whole years. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So did you do anything fun for the holidays? Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, little family time. I mean, kind of wish it was back last week again. Man, that was easy.
If it was last week, we wouldn't be having this awesome sale, though. So
yeah,
and now it's available for everybody else.
What about you, Mike? How were your holidays?
My holiday was fantastic. I mean, I was using Speedify to help keep track of the Wi-Fi turkey to make sure it was cooked correctly. So it was pretty awesome, right? So we do have a question from audience, and please, anybody else, come on in. Non-renewing, that's awesome. I know. So it doesn't even lock you into a commitment. Who wants a commitment when you get 70% off? So Will, let's piggyback on the parent share a little bit while we're waiting for some questions to come in from the audience. So can you give us some scenarios for a parent share of why would somebody want to run this new feature from Speedify?
Yeah, it stinks to get interrupted. I mean, it stinks to get interrupted while you're watching the game, doing a live stream or a video call.
Yeah.
And audiences leave the moment that you're offline.
Well, thank you for sticking around. That's because we use Speedify. So for those that don't know, this is wrong one. We're new here, so we'll go this one. Yeah, so here you go. So here's Speedify. So for those who don't know, so we're streaming from Restream. Looks like we're on Twitch, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and this is what Speedify looks like. So you can see we're using our Ethernet, which is our Comcast cable. And we're using our Starlink as a secondary connection. So that means if the Comcast cable is not really pulling us weight or there's some hiccups, the Starlink is going to get brought on and get used right for our stream. And we have the third connection. Why don't you give us a little insight on that one?
Yeah, so that third connection is our very special, most wonderful parent share connection. And I don't know. I mean, Mike, why don't you tell us what went into the UI designing on that?
We're going to talk some stacks. So let's bring it back here. So let's see. So so we got Bab Speedify saying, let's share it on the train with nice people I won't see again. Is this safe? It's absolutely safe. So if you get, a bunch of strangers you just meet on the train and, both of you have maybe AT&T and Verizon, and you both kind of got 1 or 2 bars and need a little extra juice, you could actually share the cellular amongst each other, and it's all private. It's all connected. It's all encrypted. So every bit of internet you're sharing with your friend on the train and they're sharing with you, your device can't see it. Everything is safe from any would-be predators. I guess that's the wrong word.
Sorry, would-be predators?
Would-be middlemen attack. Yeah. So no, you're safe from anybody who's just using it. So yeah. So we are, so parent share, you could pair with other people once they install Speedify and get stronger connections. So how long is this? This has been in the works for a while, would you say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, about a year. I mean, a good solid year.
Yeah, it has been. So it got released, I think, back in September for Speedify 14. We're still rolling about updates. We're improving. We're getting your feedback each and every day. So yeah, let's see.
Whose idea was it in the beginning? Which one of you came up with it?
I mean, Alex usually comes up with all this fun stuff. Yeah. So yeah, Alex usually comes up with an idea of maybe a problem that he faced and brings it to some of the geniuses behind the scenes that are not in this room, and they kind of get together, and me and Will kind of, we all form together and help bring this to life. So hello, wonderful people. I wish you all the best for you and your beautiful application. Just a question. why does the application crash after a lot of times?
Yeah, well, it shouldn't.
No.
I mean, that's never a good thing. But we do get, from time to time, crash reports, and we try to go through every single one of them. We take those pretty seriously. If it's crashing for you, you should definitely reach out to support and give us a little bit more info. We'll definitely hop on that.
So you can reach support at speedify.com. Just include, your little snippet from our chat, and we'll get back to you right away.
Yeah.
So parent share, we're back. We're using cellular connections from each one of our friends. So were there any roadblocks maybe faced with Google or Apple that you're aware of?
It actually was surprisingly, we weren't so sure, but Apple was totally fine with it. Yeah, they seemed to love it. I'm not sure. You have any insight on that?
Yeah,
Do you know anybody on Inside Apple? Mike, did you threaten anybody?
No, yeah, I wish. No, I mean WWDC, we all get together each year. Apple and all the developers from around the world, and you ask your questions. And Apple's big take is, as long as the user has complete control and transparency over how their connection is being used, it's okay with them. That's why we built in the Speedify live activities, so you can see when you're actually sharing from your device. You have control on the Speedify user interface, whether you want to share with certain people, disconnect them, remove them, et cetera, et cetera. So Roy said parent share is working great for him. That's awesome, Roy. So if you have any kind of insight of how you're using it, please share it with our audience. So parent share, why does this matter?
Well, why doesn't it matter, Mike?
Why doesn't it? Yeah, I know, right?
Right. It gives you a more reliable internet. It's only takes 4 megabytes of data to stream, and that's not just Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. It's also FaceTime and Google Meet and Teams and everything else. If it has video and voice, it's streaming, and parent share is going to help you with that.
That's great. So yeah, I mean, if you're susceptible to video calls dropping, or like you said, if we're going to cut out, parent share is your way to go. It's borrowing a bar from a friend, right? So let's see what anybody from the audience. So everybody loves stronger connections. I sure do.
Yeah.
So Ed asks, how do you know if someone wants to parent share with you?
Well, yeah, you'll get a little notification.
Who doesn't love a notification?
Yeah. And you can also make your display name little emojis. Better.
We will come around the office and say, whose device is this? And it's usually Will's.
Yeah.
You try to piece it together. What do you think?
Yeah.
But it's fun. It is fun. But also, Ed, so if you also have many devices that are your own devices and you're signed into those devices, they will automatically pair for you right away. So if you have an iPhone and you pair with your Mac,
it's up here right now.
And you can see, you get a little notification saying parent share with fellas.
My fellas.
That is another device asking for us to share with them so we can get another connection. So you could easily, if we can get our little mouse over there, pair with them. And you see, there's feedback when someone wants to ask you when it's a success. So you can see, once it's a success, all data sent between devices and the Speedify servers is encrypted. You can modify the device's permission and unpair that device at any time. Or you can set limits or stop sharing to prevent overuse of your cellular connections. So you can see this My Fellas Cellular got added right to our adapter stack. And you might be asking yourself, why isn't it being used? How are they being used? So that goes into some of our connection priorities. So we'll get into the priorities. But first, we can go right into our parent share settings a little bit. So you can see, you get a lot of information about the cellular that's being shared with us. So we could use this device to share connection, or we can not use it. We can set the priorities. We can see kind of what our device is doing using their connections. And if you were a host, so we are a client on our Mac, which means we're using their cellular. But if it was reverse, you could stop sharing with this connection, or stop receiving from this connection as well. So, Will, as far as priorities are concerned, I see this Ethernet Comcast cable is primary, the Wi-Fi Starlink is secondary. Can you go over a little bit about the connection priorities?
Yeah. So most of the time you just leave them automatic. I mean, that's Speedify uses big brains to figure out what should be where. But if there's a connection that you really need in a particular spot, you got primary, secondary, and backup, really. And never, of course, which is the same thing as not having it at all. But parent share usually fits pretty well into secondary. Ethernet, for example, is a good candidate for something that might be primary.
So what would make a connection a good candidate for being primary, and why wouldn't the secondary connections be used? Right now as we're looking at the UI.
But, low latency, high bandwidth, no jitter, but your best connection, primary. And parent share, using somebody else's cellular connection. First of all, takes more battery. So you don't want to use it unless you really have to. Put it to sleep when it can be, and it's also just not as reliable as something like being bound to a wire over Ethernet.
So we have this awesome word we like to use around here that's not exposed to the user interface called the overflow threshold. So basically when your primary connection is about 30 megabits per second and you're hitting those good speeds, the other connections are not going to be in use unless you set them to primary, in which case they're going to try to use all your connections to speed up your internet. But if your primary connection is not really hitting that threshold and you need that extra bandwidth, the secondary connection is going to kick in. Whereas, your backup connection is just not going to be used if there is a secondary or primary connection. You can also set connections to never, which means, look, until I turn this back on, please don't use this. So we will get back to the question. So I saw Roy, he said, I have two, where'd it go? So I have two iPhones, one with Verizon, the other with T-Mobile, both connected to an AT&T hotspot. I live stream with one iPhone and monitor the chat with the other. If that's not why we do this, this is the exact use case of what we're putting out parent share for. So, Roy, that's awesome. I'm so glad we were able to help, and hopefully it brings new life to all the streaming you've been doing. Let's see. Does Speedify allow to bypass the internet speed restrictions by the ISP? If yes, how can I configure it? Do you know, Will?
Internet speed restrictions by the ISP? Not so sure what you mean by that. Internet speed restrictions by the ISP. You mean throttling?
So, if your Comcast is giving you, say, 200 megabits per second, that's what you're paying for. That's pretty much what you're going to get. But if you're at a coffee shop and let's say the router and that local connection is limiting you to about 5 megabits per second and you're using parent share, you might be able to steal a little bit more Wi-Fi bandwidth from that. But as far as, getting more out of your Comcast connection at home, I don't think there's anything we do there.
Yeah.
So VM Live Media Production says, when you are introducing share combined internet on mobile phone without using third-party applications to USB Tether, can you elaborate a little bit? So if you're talking about how Speedify users can share internet amongst each other using parent share, that is totally wireless. As long as you're on the same local Wi-Fi network, you're going to be able to share that internet with everybody around you. Now, if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can tether a whole bunch of Speedify devices to that and use that as a router. Get it that way. So Quiet Galaxy said, I'm trying to clean house on notifications. Is there a way I could choose what Speedify notifications I can see? That's a great question.
Yep.
And absolutely you can. So let's go back to the user interface and you go to this little hamburger menu at the top left. And you're going to see a big long line of settings that you could do. And you're going to go all the way down to preferences and notifications. And in here, you're going to have a whole bunch of settings you can mess with, whether you want to get account alerts or connect notifications. And some of these differ by platform, whereas you're not going to get connect notifications on your iOS device, but you will on your Mac desktop. So when you open up your clamshell, you know that you're connected. So if there's any you don't like or wish you had and it's off, go check those settings out. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to butcher your name, so I'm not going to say it. So basically, with paired devices, I no longer need to tether phones to a PC. All I have to do is connect them to my router through Wi-Fi and pair. What do you think?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's it.
That's the idea right there.
Yeah. So if you have I'm guessing you have a Windows PC. So if you're on the same local Wi-Fi network, just like our Mac, as you can see in our picture over here, all done wirelessly. So if you have an iPhone or an Android device and you want to pair it with your Windows PC, over the Wi-Fi, you could do that. Yeah, it's as simple as that. We should do some live demos with these guys.
Yeah.
Roy said, "Thanks, guys. Parent share is a game changer for me." I mean, that's pretty much. You have some
Wild
restless night
Roy.
working on this stuff, don't you?
Oh no, yeah.
You know, Will's always coming in with new ideas and a fresh take on things. So we really appreciate the feedback. And Abundance says throttling. Yes, I mean, the only thing you have some insight.
Yeah, I mean, if you can bond other connections, you're going to be able to overcome that. But it depends how determined your ISP is.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, I guess, right? Brett said, "Can you tell us which routers you are using for testing the upcoming OpenWRT package? Will that package work well on any reasonably powerful OpenWRT router?" Do you know?
Yeah, I think we're doing some work on OpenWRT. I don't know what the status of that is. I think it should be fine though.
Well, nothing is officially supported yet. So if you
Yeah.
look around the internet, you're going to see some people that did hack a little bit of Speedify and got it working. But we are going to have official support coming in 2024, I believe. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything, but Brett, I can assure you there will be blog posts, there will be Speedify live announcements, and there will be updates to the software, which you will see.
I wonder if TM is in the chat. I know they do some wild stuff with
Royce Marby, one way to justify buying a new phone. Do we even need justification anymore? It's Cyber Week. They're giving them away at this point. I mean, we should all have like 3 iPhones by now. Let's see. Any other questions coming in? I don't think so. And excuse us, we're all getting used to these things. Alex is always the man in charge over here, so we're kind of just bearing with it. Yeah, so what else? So Black Friday came around, Cyber Monday. Anything that struck your attention that you ended up getting for yourself, at least?
I'm a little bit boring. I got a new mouse.
Oh, I did see it. It's very ergonomic. That was really nice.
Wow, yeah, blew my mind.
That's awesome.
So that thing. It's actually kind of intimidating. This looks like a shark fin coming out of the water.
Yeah,
you're meant to grab it like a. You know what? Forget it. That was my Black Friday.
That's right. All right, Chris C said, "I see one pair and share going gray randomly after 60 to 90 seconds. Any suggestions?" My suggestion is write into support@speedify.com, and they will take it from there. You can ask for Will personally. He will look at your logs and answer you right away. I promise you.
Chance I'll see those logs.
If you do it now, with time to get out of this chat, I'll be waiting for them.
You know what really helps me though is if you send like a little screenshot or like maybe a video of, and if you get those logs really close to when the problem happens, or just give me like a timestamp. Yeah, that's gonna be great.
Chris, if you can give us the exact millisecond this happened, he can fix it for you fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be really quick.
That's right. Yeah. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we have our 70% off sale. 3 years of Speedify, 70% off, no commitment, no subscriptions. Don't miss out on the best deal of the entire year. It's going away. I know we have sales all the time, but it's never this good, is it? I mean, with Parent Share coming out, Parent Share is a free feature on all these licenses. I mean, you just can't miss out. It's available for iOS, Windows, Mac, and Linux. I mean,
be like Roy.
Give the gift of software this year. That's all I'm saying. Give your loved ones that security they need to browse the internet safely. Give the gift that everybody's going to these awesome Eagles games. They could have internet to browse Facebook when the Eagles are off the field. Things like that matter a lot. So yeah, Black Friday, I didn't get anything for myself.
You didn't?
No, I did get some cool Minecraft Nerf guns for the kids that were 50% off, which was pretty awesome. So I'll probably steal their toys a little bit. Shoot some Speedify Parent Share when we're in the middle of coding. It would be fine. So let's see. Wayne Nelson, using the Speedify VPN, is static IP address available for Starlink? I'm not sure of your exact question, but if we do have dedicated server options, which allow you to have static IP addresses for the VPN. But if you're on a non-dedicated server, you're kind of just, you have a public IP for everybody else. So if that helps your question. Speedify Bab says, the best part of parenthood is the toys. And it seems like everything from my childhood is coming full circle. So thanks toy universe. We get all the updated toys, and everything's connected to Wi-Fi. So it was really great.
That's terrifying.
Legos are really cool again. Were they ever not cool?
Yeah, no, those were always pretty
They're
cool.
always
I don't know
cool.
who's saying Legos are not cool.
You know, they used to have the Legos that turn into robots where you could program them. Did you ever have one of those?
Yeah, those are wild, man.
I would love
This
that
thing
going
is-
back again.
It's like I'm surprised no startups came out of that.
Hey, maybe we should start one. Sean Tracy, is there a way to pair and share 2 cell phones and then have Speedify as a hotspot down to my laptop without Speedify installed? You need Speedify installed to use pair and share on every device. If you need 2 cell phones and Speedify as a hotspot down to my laptop. So we do have a piece of software called Connect My Hotspot. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could have two phones running Speedify connected on a Connect My Hotspot, pair and sharing to each other. Try that. So VM Live Media Production says, I mean, I can't use Speedify to USB tether a PC without using a third-party application like PDA-Net Plus. When are you introducing Speedify on phones to share VPN internet? I think we just answered the question. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have Speedify on phones.
Well, Connect by Hotspot on Windows can share a bonded Speedify connection as a Wi-Fi hotspot that other devices without Speedify can use.
Yep.
I think piggyback those Sean a little bit. And thanks, Speedify chat. I think there's Ryan out there. And I mean, we were supposed to have 3 on today. I thought he was coming in with us, and he went away. Who is this? Call me V. I think we know this guy. When is it appropriate to start putting up Christmas decorations? Oh, this is a big topic. This is such a heated discussion. Do you have any idea? This is July?
No, I'm just more curious who that is. You think that's
That's your fellow support guy, Voislav. So if you guys have any support questions, go ping that guy. Yeah, I can't. Voislav, I should just let him struggle.
Whoa.
But my take is the day after Thanksgiving is the all-out, go nuts, decorate for Christmas. But if you're one of those guys that, or girls that spend, that take months or weeks to get ready, I think you could start the day after Halloween. If I see Christmas decorations before Halloween, just not a big fan. Yeah, Voislav is late, so we appreciate it. So we're coming down to the 2:30 hour. Everybody behind the scenes that we have. So we will be back next Wednesday for another Speedify live office hours QA with our developers. I'm sure Alex will be back then, and I think Kevin will be on with him. We should have another version of Speedify out that fixes a lot of quirky bugs that you guys have reported in the last few weeks. And I guess, it's at 10 a.m. next Wednesday. So grab your coffee if you're, on the East Coast, West Coast. Grab some, after dinner drink if you're overseas a little bit. And I guess that'd be lunch, depending where you're at. And we'll be back at 10 a.m. next Wednesday. That's Eastern Standard Time. And so one more time before we go. Cyber Week, 70% off, 3-year, no commitment. Make sure you go speedify.com, grab that, and it helps me and Will, work on more books for you guys as you report it. And any kind of support tickets you have, ask for Will personally. You know him, that's him. You can put a face to the ticket, and we'll make sure we get you guys all wrapped up. Other than that, I think we have 1 minute to spare, but I think we can wrap it up here. What do you think?
I mean,
did you have a good time?
I had a great time on
the show. Was it all right?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, mostly I just troll in the comments. So it's such a pleasure to actually be on the show.
Yeah, it's good that now he's going to be a regular. So let's request Will every chance we get. Bring Will back on the show. He already came equipped with a Speedify shirt. I should have run mine today, but thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for everybody for your questions. 140 viewers today. It was fantastic. Little hour or half hour of Speedify. We are so thankful for each and every one of you. We hope you click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.